From the earliest times, even before kings sat on their thrones and empires etched their presence into history, there existed beings of immense size and mystery. Their influence cast long shadows across generations. These creatures lived where the seen and unseen meet, where the natural world touches the supernatural. Scripture speaks of them with a sense of awe and reverence, seeing them as demonstrations of the Creator's limitless power. They stood as witnesses to ages when humans walked alongside wonders and terrors, beings that challenge our understanding and show us how little we truly know about the divine universe. Some guarded long-forgotten gateways, while others plunged into the deepest parts of the ocean. And then there were those that only appeared in prophetic visions, rising from the earth or emerging from the waters to deliver messages of judgment, glory, and profound mystery. These weren't just fables or exaggerated stories, they were signs. They signaled that the spiritual realm has always been close, and that forces far greater than any earthly kingdom have watched over the boundary between heaven and earth. Today, we embark on a journey through sacred texts to explore 10 biblical creatures so enormous and awe-inspiring that their impact resonates into eternity. These are beings before whom even the most powerful would fall silent, witnesses to the magnificence of the Most High and the immeasurable depths of creation. Prepare yourself. What you are about to encounter isn't myth, but memory. Fragments of a world that trembled beneath the footsteps of giants, the wings of angels, and the roars of impossible beasts. First, the Behemoth. In lands untouched by human memory, where valleys still echo with the breath of creation's first days, dwells a creature whose very form exceeds all understanding. The Behemoth isn't just large, it's truly monumental, as if the earth itself molded its flesh to display sheer, raw power. Its back rises like a living mountain, and its skin, thick and ancient, resembles bronze weathered by time. Beneath it, muscles flow like rivers of molten rock. Scripture says, "Behold now, his strength is in his loins, and his power is in the muscles of his belly." Job 40-16. Every step causes the ground to shake, and dust rises. Creation itself seems to bow before its presence. But it's the tale that inspires the greatest wonder, not just a simple appendage, but a living trunk so massive that Scripture compares it to a cedar tree in full strength. He moves his tail like a cedar. Job 40-17. Its legs are like pillars, its tendons like intertwined roots, and its bones are described as tubes of bronze and bars of iron. His bones are like tubes of bronze, his limbs like bars of iron. Job 40-18. Its small eyes burn like golden embers, holding the serenity of a being that knows exactly what it is. When it breathes, hot vapor spreads across the river. When it drinks, the waters rise to its chest, as if fleeing from the sheer weight of its existence. The Behemoth does not hide, does not fear, and does not need to attack. It simply exists, and that alone commands reverence. It is a living reminder that even the greatest mountains are small compared to the Creator's power. Second, the first beast. From the ocean's depths, where sunlight never penetrates and ancient echoes reverberate like memories predating creation, something began to ascend. First, a tremor, then a widening shadow beneath the waters. The ocean seemed to resist its arrival, yet also bowed before it. And then, breaking through the waves like a living monolith, the first beast emerged into the world of men. John describes it, "I saw a beast rising out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and on its horns 10 crowns, and on its heads blasphemous names." Revelation 13:1. Its body defied the natural world, a fusion of forms beyond human comprehension. Its torso was agile like a leopard's, its skin shifting in color in the dim light of the abyss. Beneath, muscles flowed like twisted rivers. Its feet, heavy and brutal like a bear's, crushed submerged rocks with ease, each step sending vibrations through the deep. But when it lifted its eyes, the true terror was revealed. 7 heads aligned like living crowns, each with its own distinct personality. One was ancient, cracked by time, with eyes burning like eternal embers. Another was young and feral, with exposed fangs and black saliva dripping down. Another had smooth, dark, serpent-like skin with pupils as thin as blades. Each head breathed differently, as if each were a separate creature trapped within one colossal body. All bore names of blasphemy, etched into their flesh like glowing wounds. Above them rose 10 horns, long and uneven, each crowned with diadems that didn't reflect light. They were crowns of living metal, pulsing and breathing as if they possessed their own will. And then there was the mouth. Its mouth was like the mouth of a lion. Revelation 13:2. The central jaw opened, revealing fangs as large as iron stakes. Its roar didn't just echo, it pierced flesh, blood, and spirit. It was like hearing 1,000 caverns collapsing at once. Its breath was hot and dense, filled with storm and blood. Droplets of saliva fell into the sea, burning the water like living acid. Nothing about this creature should have functioned, yet it did. It moved with precision, almost with regality, like a sovereign fully aware of its absolute power. Water slid down its flanks, as though the very ocean mourned its birth. The first beast wasn't just seen, it was felt. The air around it distorted, the waves bowed before it, and the winds shifted direction like servants before an ancient monarch. Thus it emerged, a living embodiment of the rebellion that runs through human kingdoms, a monstrous symbol of the power that will one day attempt to rule all nations. An impossible body sustaining 7 consciousnesses, 10 horns, 10 crowns, a lion's mouth, and a power no human language can adequately describe without trembling. Third, the second beast. The earth was silent when it appeared. There was no tremor, no fire, no grand sign. The second beast revealed itself in an almost understated manner, and in that very subtlety lay its danger. It didn't rise with force like the beast from the sea. Instead, it emerged from the ground as if it had always been there, hidden, waiting for its moment. Its body was tall and slender, imitating the form of a lamb. Its skin had a soft, almost ethereal glow, reminiscent of illuminated wool. From a distance, it seemed gentle, almost sacred, but a closer look revealed the deception. Its movements were too fluid, too precise, as if it were imitating nature without truly belonging to it. 2 horns adorned its head, small, curved, and seemingly harmless. They looked like ivory, yet pulsed like living matter. Within their thin cracks, a golden light seeped out, beautiful and unsettling, revealing what lay hidden beneath its meek appearance. Its eyes were large, wet, and serene, but with a serenity that was empty and cold, mimicking compassion without feeling it. Deep within them was a metallic glint, calculating. It blinked rarely, and when it did, it was too fast, like a mechanism trying to imitate human motion. But the deception vanished completely when it spoke. It had 2 horns like a lamb, but it spoke like a dragon. Revelation 13:11. The voice didn't match the body. It echoed deep and cavernous, like restrained fire. Each word vibrated through the air, making the ground tremble lightly. It wasn't mere speech, it was domination. Its feet were narrow and elegant, stepping with grace, yet leaving scorched marks on the ground, as if a dragon were walking inside that gentle shape. The second beast didn't frighten by what it showed, but by what it concealed. A lamb on the outside, a devouring abyss within. And that's exactly what it was meant to be. Fourth, Leviathan. In the depths where light has never reached and the sea becomes an unfathomable abyss, something stirs. The waters tremble, and a colossal shadow coils beneath them. Then, tearing through the surface like a being ripping through an ancient veil, the Leviathan emerges, the sovereign of all oceanic creatures. Its serpentine body stretches for dozens of meters, and its scales, sharp as blades, shine like metal forged in fire. Together, they form an impenetrable armor. Scripture says his back is made of rows of shields tightly sealed together. Job 41-15. A living wall no human weapon can pierce. When it moves, the sea seems to bow before it. A colossal wave rises with every twist of its body. Its tail, powerful as the trunk of an ancient oak, splits the waters with enough force to destroy entire ships. Wherever it passes, the ocean churns like boiling cauldrons. Its head is terrifying, broad, massive, armed with rows of curved, sword-like teeth. From its mouth escapes hot vapor that makes the air quiver. Job describes, out of his mouth go burning lights, sparks of fire leap forth. Job 41-19. Its eyes gleam like living embers, piercing the blackness of the deep. There's no emotion in its gaze, only the cold awareness of a supreme predator, king of a realm where humanity doesn't belong. Smoke pours from its nostrils like from a volcanic mountain. Its breath echoes like thunder beneath the waters, spreading panic among everything that lives there. When it roars, the sea rises in towering walls that crash with devastating force. The Leviathan doesn't hide, it rules. No one hunts it, no one subdues it. The word declares, on earth there is nothing like him. Job 41-33. The trail it leaves behind is a white scar across the ocean. Some ancients believed its movements twisted its body like intertwined serpents, reminiscent of the multi-headed monsters of the Psalms. But above all, it's a symbol, a personification of chaos, of primordial force, of the abyss before creation. And when it rises, the world feels small. For before it, man understands the ocean isn't merely water. It's home to creatures only God can face. Fifth, the locusts of the apocalypse. The sky darkened as though the light itself had been torn away. A thick smoke rose from the opened abyss, covering the sun and plunging the earth into twilight. But the terror wasn't in the smoke, it was in what emerged from it. Creatures that had never walked among men, the dreadful locusts of the apocalypse. They advanced like a living army, but they didn't resemble ordinary insects. Their bodies were like horses prepared for battle, strong, raised, covered with plates of chitin that gleamed like iron armor beneath the dim light. The appearance of the locusts was like horses prepared for battle. Revelation 9-7. On their heads were something like crowns of gold, not metallic, but organic, pulsating, as though they were marks of a cruel authority granted for judgment. Their faces bore human features, large, intelligent eyes observing with cold precision. Their expressions showed no rage, only intent. This strange hint of humanity made them even more disturbing, like a dark parody of the Creator's design. Beneath their faces, however, lay a beastly jaw with sharp teeth that hummed like a restrained predator. They had hair like women's hair. Revelation 9-8. Long, dark strands rippled down their heads, giving them a spectral, almost warrior-like appearance. Their teeth, like lions' teeth, were curved, cutting weapons. Their chests were protected by breastplates like iron, and the clash of their ranks echoed like metal in war. Their wings beat with a force that shook the air. The sound was like the thunder of chariots rushing into battle. But it was the tail that sealed their purpose. Long, jointed, ending in a scorpion's stinger, it gleamed like venomous glass. They had tails like scorpions, with stings. Revelation 9:10. They plunged from the sky like living arrows, striking their victims with pain so intense that men longed for death. But it wouldn't come. These weren't locusts of this world. They were creatures of the abyss, messengers of torment formed to remind humanity that under divine judgment, even the smallest being can become more terrifying than entire armies. Sixth, the cherubim. When Ezekiel lifted his eyes, he didn't see gentle or childlike figures. What appeared was a vision of glory and terror, being so powerful that the very air seemed to tremble before them. The cherubim didn't fit within human imagination. They had a form similar to humans, but grand, their skin glowing like heated metal, shifting between gold, bronze, and liquid fire. Around them pulsed storms of light, as if they carried the energy of the firmament itself. 4 faces looked in different directions: man, lion, ox, and eagle, each revealing intelligence, strength, service, and sovereignty. A fusion impossible to comprehend without bowing in reverence. 4 wings extended from their bodies. 2 covered their chests in honor, and the other 2 vibrated with the sound of many waters. When they beat, they didn't create wind, they created impact, as though the heavens themselves responded. Their feet were straight, firm, ending in shining hooves like polished bronze. When they touched the ground, sparks flashed like crushed embers. Beneath their wings, human hands moved, ready to execute the will of the Most High. The bodies of the cherubim were wrapped in an almost electric light. They didn't walk, they glided, moving in any direction without turning their faces, advancing like a conscious storm. Wherever they passed, the atmosphere shifted, the air grew heavier, and silence became sacred. These weren't soft angels, they were guardians of the throne, creatures forged to protect the holy with a power that makes kingdoms tremble. 7th, the giants. They walked upon the earth like colossal shadows of a forgotten world. Wherever their feet touched, the ground yielded. Wherever their voices echoed, mountains answered like distant thunder. They were the giants: Nephilim, Anakim, Rephaim, and Emim, vestiges of an age when humanity seemed small before them. Their stature surpassed all human measure. Some reached 3 meters, others far more. The ancients said, "We saw the giants there, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers." Numbers 13:33, and it was no metaphor. Seasoned warriors became insignificant before such colossi. Their bodies were living fortresses, chests broad as walls, shoulders wide as carved stone blocks, muscles interwoven like deep roots. Every breath was a hot exhalation of earth and battle. Some had bronze-hued skin marked by ancient scars. Others were pale as marble, reflecting light like a cold blade. But all shared the same fierce brightness in their eyes, a primal instinct that never faded. King Og of Bashan, of the Rephaim, possessed a bed 9 cubits long, Deuteronomy 3:11. Over 4 meters. Imagine his figure: a thick neck, a broad jaw, teeth like small fangs, hands capable of crushing stone. Goliath reflected this same brutality. His armor weighed more than many men could carry, and his mere presence could unnerve entire armies. When the giants ran, they stirred up storms of dust. Their weapons were tree trunks, iron beams, spears impossible for human hands to lift. Yet, there was intelligence in their faces, strategy, awareness, and an ancient echo of power. They were the living memory of a time when the earth was inhabited by beings beyond human logic, colossi, who carried in their bodies the echo of chaos before order. 8th, the dragons. Among all creatures described in Scripture, few awaken such profound fear as the dragons, symbols of primordial chaos, raw force, and the darkest regions of creation. Unlike modern mythological depictions, the biblical dragons appear as monsters whose shape defies reason and stands on the very threshold of divine judgment. Their form was long and serpentine, like rivers cutting through deserts. Their scales shone like freshly forged metal, fitted together like an impenetrable armor. As they moved, their bodies undulated with unsettling harmony, each motion conveying the sense that the entire creature was a single living muscle, ready to destroy. The head bore curved horns, jutting out like sharpened blades. Their eyes burned like embers, red, intense, studying the world with silent contempt, as though they saw beyond flesh and bone. Their mouths, filled with jagged teeth, exhaled hot vapor rising like furnace smoke. Some accounts speak of dragons whose nostrils released constant smoke, like wandering volcanoes. Others describe stiff manes running down their backs, or short, thick wings resembling the fins of ancient sea monsters. Their claws were immense, curved, capable of tearing stone cliffs and toppling ancient trees as if they were twigs. Scripture declares, "In that day the Lord will punish Leviathan, the fleeing serpent, with his fierce and great sword, even Leviathan, that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea." Isaiah 27:1. When a dragon rose, its shadow covered the land like sudden night. When it struck with its tail, the ground split open as if the world were cracking from within. Every part of its body pulsed with untamed force, a living remnant of eras older than the established order. Biblical dragons are not merely monsters, they are signs, echoes of the power dwelling in the depths, reminders that not all creatures bow to the will of men. Ninth, the four beasts of Daniel. When Daniel beheld the sea stirred by the winds of heaven, four forms emerged from the deep, dark, majestic, and terrifying creatures, shaped as living symbols of kingdoms that would rule the earth. The first rose as a winged lion. Its body was powerful, its golden hide shining like fire at sunset, and its eagle's wings stirred tempests with every movement. But before the prophet, something impossible occurred. Its wings were torn off, and the lion stood upright like a man, receiving a human heart, a transformation filled with mystery and meaning. The second beast ascended with brutal weight, a colossal bear, raised up on one side, ready to strike. Its thick hide was marked by ancient scars, and between its teeth it held 3 torn ribs. Its hungry gaze revealed savage strength, as if prepared to crush everything in its path. The third was an impossible leopard, 4 wings, 4 heads, 4 vigilant gazes. Its spotted body moved with supernatural speed, like lightning slicing the sky. Its wings vibrated with deadly precision, and its heads looked in different directions, prepared to conquer without rest. But the fourth beast, there was no comparison. Daniel described it as dreadful, terrifying, and exceedingly strong. Its body seemed formed of metallic darkness, absorbing all light around it. Iron teeth crushed everything, and its claws shredded stone as though it were dust. Upon its head, 10 horns rose like living blades, bearing sinister power. Its roar wasn't sound, it was impact. Its charge devoured hope itself and shattered whatever stood in its way. It was a living monument of chaos, a force no earthly kingdom could restrain. These 4 beasts weren't merely visions, they were warnings, prophetic signs carved in living flesh, revealing the paths history would take under the gaze of the Almighty. 10th, the vampires, creatures of sword teeth. Among the dark images preserved in Scripture, few are as unsettling as the beings described, with relentless hunger and teeth sharp as blades. They aren't modern vampires, but creatures whose very existence was shaped for devouring. Proverbs describes them, "There is a generation whose teeth are like swords, whose fangs are like knives." Proverbs 30-14. The vision is vivid, humanoid creatures distorted beyond the natural. Their faces are elongated, marked by protruding bones. Their pale skin seems stretched thin, always on the verge of tearing. Their hollow eyes observe with a mixture of predatory desire and disdain. It's a human face without humanity. Their teeth are the most terrifying feature. Long, natural blades, shining like polished steel, serrated to cut flesh and bone. When they open their mouths, one sees rows of teeth that clash with a dry, mechanical sound, like the gears of a predator designed for destruction. Their hands are thin, with long fingers ending in black, curved nails resembling small talons. Their bodies are gaunt, almost skeletal, yet they move with cruel speed, always hunched, always watching, like ravenous beasts stalking in the shadows. Some descriptions imply their breath carries the scent of ancient blood, as though they survive on the very death they cause. Their garments are torn, clinging like rags soaked with the odor of ruin. When they locate prey, they tilt their heads slowly, like a beast calculating the moment of attack. Then they lunge with impossible speed, teeth flashing like swords in the dark. These creatures represent a humanity corrupted, devoured by the evil it embraced. They aren't myths, they're warnings, figures showing what man becomes when he abandons the light and walks toward the abyss. Thus, among ancient monsters,
myths,
colossi,
but memory,
and beings beyond human comprehension, we perceive that every form revealed in Scripture carries a purpose, to remind us of the greatness of the Creator and the fragility of man. None of this is myth, it's a sign. Marks left in history so that we never forget the visible world is only a fragment of creation. And as long as there are eyes to see and ears to hear, these stories will continue echoing through the ages, proclaiming that nothing is impossible for the Most High. See you soon.